When most people hear the word blockchain, they think of digital currencies, charts, and complicated computer code. For years, that was exactly how I saw it too, a distant, technical concept that belonged to financial experts and technology enthusiasts. But that changed the day blockchain quietly entered my daily life, reshaping the way I worked, spent, and even trusted the world around me. It began when my city introduced a digital identification system based on blockchain technology. The idea was simple. Every citizen would have a secure digital ID that could not be forged or stolen. Instead of carrying physical cards or worrying about online security breaches, all personal information would be stored safely on a decentralized network. I was skeptical at first. How could something invisible on the internet be more trustworthy than paper documents? When I registered, the process surprised me. There was no long queue, no piles of paperwork. I scanned my face and fingerprint once, and within minutes, I had a verified digital identity, one that belonged only to me, stored across hundreds of servers instead of a single database. Every time I used it, blockchain confirmed who I was through an unchangeable record. It was simple, yet incredibly powerful. Soon I noticed how this invisible network began connecting different parts of my life. When I paid my utility bills, I used a blockchain-based payment platform. When I visited the doctor, my medical history was instantly available, securely stored on the same network, visible only to me and authorized doctors. The endless paperwork that used to fill my days suddenly disappeared. The change was subtle at first, but soon I realized that blockchain was redefining trust. In the past, I always had to rely on middlemen, banks, notaries, agencies to prove that my transactions were legitimate. Now, blockchain handled that automatically. Each action was recorded on a digital ledger that no one could alter. It was like having an invisible witness following every deal, ensuring honesty without interference. The next big transformation came through finance. My employer switched to a blockchain-powered payroll system. Every month, my salary arrived instantly, with full transparency. I could see the record of the transaction, who sent it, when, and how it was verified, all without waiting for banks to process it. Even international payments, which once took days, became nearly instant. I also began to explore decentralized finance systems that let people lend, borrow, and earn interest without traditional banks. It felt strange at first to manage my finances directly, but it gave me a sense of control I had never felt before. I was no longer dependent on bank hours, hidden fees, or delayed transfers. Blockchain turned money into pure digital trust. One of the most fascinating changes came through supply chains. When I bought groceries, I could scan a code on the packaging and instantly see where my food came from, which farm grew it, when it was shipped, and how it was handled. There were no vague organic labels anymore. Everything was transparent and traceable. The same applied to clothes, electronics, and medicines. For the first time, I felt truly connected to the origins of what I consumed. My city also adopted blockchain in governance. Voting was done online, but unlike before, it was secure and tamper-proof. Each vote was recorded on a public ledger, visible to everyone, but tied to no personal identity. Fraud became nearly impossible, and participation soared. It was democracy powered by code, not politics. At work, blockchain revolutionized collaboration. Contracts were replaced by smart contracts, self-executing agreements stored on the network. When two parties met certain conditions, the contract fulfilled itself automatically. There was no need for lawyers or signatures. The system was the judge and the enforcer. It made partnerships faster, cheaper, and more reliable. But blockchain's influence went beyond business and governance. It began shaping creativity too. Artists, musicians, and writers started publishing their work through blockchain platforms that guaranteed ownership. I released a small collection of short stories using one of these systems. Every time someone bought or shared my work, the blockchain recorded it, and I automatically received royalties. There were no publishers taking large percentages, no piracy, just a direct connection between creator and audience. I also saw blockchain's impact in education. Diplomas and certifications were issued digitally, impossible to forge. Employers could instantly verify a person's qualifications without needing background checks. This eliminated fake degrees and helped honest professionals stand out. Of course, the transition was not without challenges. Some people resisted the idea of putting their lives on a digital ledger, fearing surveillance or loss of privacy. Others struggled to understand how it worked. Even I had moments of confusion, wondering what would happen if the system failed. But the beauty of blockchain was that it had no single point of failure. The network lived across millions of devices, constantly verifying itself. Over time, what amazed me most was not the technology itself, but how quietly it integrated into life. Blockchain was not flashy or loud. It simply made everyday systems more transparent, fair, and efficient. It reduced corruption, built accountability, and restored trust where it had been lost. Looking back, I realized how deeply it had changed my habits. I no longer saved piles of receipts or checked my transactions twice. I trusted the system because the system trusted no one. It verified everything. When friends asked me about blockchain, I used to say it was like a truth machine. It did not care about opinions or authority. It cared only about facts. Now, as I walk through the city, I see signs of its silent revolution everywhere. Electric vehicles are rented through blockchain-based sharing systems. Neighborhood solar grids trade energy directly between homes. Even charities use blockchain to show donors exactly where their money goes. Blockchain is not just changing technology, it is redefining trust, transparency, and connection in the digital age. What once sounded like an abstract invention has become the backbone of modern life, invisible, reliable, and always working behind the scenes. And as I reflect on this transformation, I realize something profound. Blockchain's true power is not in the code, but in the confidence it restores. It gives people the ability to believe in systems again, not because of who controls them, but because of how they are built. The day blockchain transformed my daily life was not one dramatic moment. It was 1,000 quiet ones. Every transaction, every contract, every vote became a promise written in digital stone. It made me see the future not as a place of fear and uncertainty, but as a world built on verified truth. And in that world, trust, the rarest currency of all, finally became universal.